Well, I'm 29 years old now. I'm officially no longer a part of the youth vote, even though people in the party and other parts of the community will say you're a young man. But you are actually a young man. I'm 11 years your senior. Are you 18, 19?
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
Okay, 18 years old. And so this is confusing to me because I always hear that young people aren't involved. And as I understand, the average age of your viewer is pretty young. Is that right?
Yeah, the average age, probably at 65% of my viewers are from 0 to 17 is the way YouTube shows it.
So several thousand people are young and they're interested when you're talking about political issues. Mm-hmm. How is it that you're able to connect with these young people and some politicians aren't?
I think a lot of it probably has to do with me being a younger guy too. I think that a lot of times when they see these, old crusty senators that have been there for 20 years or whatever, it sort of turns off a lot of, 12-year-olds or 12 to 16-year-olds or whatever. But what I try to do is I try to keep it entertaining, but also very informative. Like I'll sit down and I'll write out what I'm going to do beforehand to try to just figure it out. And I don't know, I think there's something a lot more personal about a webcam, and you can see my room in the background, and people feel like they can actually connect to me as a person, and it's not like a politician talking to them,
So other than having, taken a tour of the national media, how else has your work online interfaced with your real life, so to speak?
Well, it's had a huge effect. I am actually a member of the YouTube Partner Program, which basically allows revenue sharing, and so that's just one thing. Like it allows me to do this basically as a part-time job. I get paid a little bit to do this, and so it allows me to focus more on this instead of trying to balance it. Because back before I was a partner, I was trying to balance it with schoolwork, and I had a job, and YouTube would sort of fall by the wayside. But I feel like that really helps. But also, just every once in a while, people looking, I don't know. I was in a middle school one time, and I think that's where a large base of my following is. And I was playing with my high school jazz band last year, and I was playing, and I noticed these kids looking at me, and I was like, do they know who I am? And then as we were leaving, they all say, "Bye, Dan Brown." And so it's like, wow. So that I've never really been recognized, but it certainly has had a major effect on my life.
What about weird things? I would imagine, I'm just going to guess, but if I had 30-some thousand people viewing me online on a regular basis, that there might be some weird interactions either online or in the real world.
I certainly, well, I encourage people to send me emails, and I've gotten, well, actually, it's surprising. I don't get any ridiculously crazy emails. I've never gotten anyone, that's just totally off the wall crazy. But I have to share this with you. I got an email about a week and a half ago from some kid who, and it's the most random thing ever, but he said, "Dear Dan Brown, the other day I had a frozen tater tot, and I wanted to thaw it so I could eat it. So I put it in the oven, but that was taking too long to preheat. So I took the metal rack out of the oven and put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And then I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and my tater tot was on fire. What happened?" So that's just an example of some of the weird stuff that I get.
Okay, all right. Let's transition a little bit more into your life personally.
Yeah.
You're 18 years old. You live in Lincoln, Nebraska. What else do you do with your time besides post YouTube videos?
Well, I am a freshman at the University of Nebraska, and I'm studying political science. And so I've been going to school there for 3 weeks now. I'll be starting my 4th week. So I'm getting into the swing of that. Yeah, schoolwork and YouTube and just friend time, I guess, those are the main 3 components of my life right now. And
what is your long-term goal in life?
Well, I'm studying political science, and so I'd like to be involved in the community in some way when I'm older. My plan right now is, get my degree in political science. Then I'd like to join AmeriCorps, the Domestic Peace Corps, and really work on getting directly involved in a sort of community building, community organizing sort of thing. And I don't profess to know what I'm going to be doing, 6 or 7 years from now. But right now, that's what I'd like. And I think that I would like to someday maybe get involved in politics.
Do you think that you'll fuse your experience with the internet and your YouTube, along with your political ambitions?
Well, I think that the ability to connect with people and the ability to talk with people is something that, whether or not I go into a political field or not, it's going to be a valuable asset to whatever job I have or whatever career I pursue. But so if I was to go into a political field, certainly, absolutely, it would. What I've learned from doing this would play a major part.
Yeah, because truly, I mean, I have to tell you, I'm on 5 boards. I've been involved in numerous campaigns, and every board, every campaign has said, we need to use the internet.
Yeah.
We need to use the internet. And I haven't seen it successfully done.
Yeah.
And yet you've been successful with this.
It's a tough thing. It's a tough thing for, like a political organization to really connect with the internet generation, because there still is, to an extent, a generational gap with the internet. So I can see where there would be where there could be difficulties in establishing, something. But I know that we're on a Democrat show, but
sure.
One politician who, either by chance or just, either by chance or by skill, has managed to really utilize the internet in an impressive way to me, and something that I've seen on, being on YouTube, is Congressman Ron Paul from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't agree with a lot of his positions, I think that it's really an admirable thing to see the organization that he sort of created. Because he was a nobody,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of people probably still haven't heard of him, but he has built an enormous organization on the internet, and it's a valuable asset for whatever agenda he wants to push. So,
what is Dan Brown's Universe?
Well, Dan Brown's Universe is a weekly web show that I post on youtube.com/DanBrownUniverse as a plug. But that's more of my silly side. That's more of, I don't know, shake my sillies out. I do goofy things, and that's catered more to, well, I don't want to say necessarily catered to my younger viewers, but I don't talk about as many serious things. I talk about silly things like, in episode 12, I wanted a new look, or in episode 8, someone challenged me to pogo stick while solving a Rubik's Cube while eating a burrito.
Did you try that?
Yeah, I was successful.
So why the Rubik's Cube? I mean, our viewers know what the Rubik's Cube is.
Right.
Everybody knows what that is.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I've always sort of had an affinity to, weird things like that. Like I could juggle, I could pogo stick, just weird things like that. And so actually, and it's weird how this comes full circle, one night in the summer of, I think it was 2006, I was watching YouTube videos of people solving Rubik's Cubes, and I thought to myself, that's something I should try, just because that's the sort of thing that I tend to be weirdly good at. And so I called my brother, and the next day he was out and about somewhere, and he picked me up a Rubik's Cube, and I paid him back for it. And it took me, I spent the whole weekend really just working on it, and I had a little booklet that came with it. And so I learned how to do it. And so then the next summer, I'd been able to do it for a year, when I started getting involved in YouTube a little bit, and I thought, well, here's something I can do and just show the world how to do. And I posted it online. I actually made it for one of my friends who, to this day, still hasn't learned how to solve it. But I posted it for him and put a link on his Facebook to it. And in the first, I think in the first week, it had over 30,000 views. And it just grew exponentially for a while there, and now it's at the point where it has almost 7 million. So totally beyond my wildest expectations. But.